Gole 1-3, Manas Tower, a controller said. You are cleared to land, runway 26. Use caution for low-level wind shear. Gole 1-3 cleared to land, the pilot acknowledged. Parson peered through the tower's windows, scanned for the Spartan. At first he saw only roiling clouds bearing down on the airfield. Large raindrops began to smack against the glass, and a gust of wind swirled dust outside on the tower catwalk. A controller raised his binoculars and pointed. Parson spotted the aircraft just under the cloud layer, in a right turn onto final approach. The plane rolled out of the turn, leveled its wings. The landing gear doors opened as the aircraft descended, and the wheels came down and locked into place. The wings rocked a bit. Parson could almost feel the turbulence jolting the airplane. He'd made a few landings here himself in a C-5 Galaxy, riding down the glide slope with the jet crabbed sideways, dancing on the rudder pedals at the last moment, and always keeping his thumb on the go-around button, in case the wind shear got so evil he had to abort the approach. The rain fell harder. Drops pounded the roof until the sound rose to a dull roar. Water streamed down the tower windows, and outside, visibility dropped by half. Parson could still see the C-27, though, now on short final. The aircraft continued its descent, a little too steeply for Parson's comfort. The Spartan should have flown a nice, gentle approach angle of about 3 degrees, but this looked like 6 or 8. At this rate, Parson thought, the aircraft might even touch down short of the runway. Time to climb away for another try. But the Spartan continued to descend. By standard procedure, the crew should have set up a stabilized approach by now, configured to land on glide path within a few knots of approach speed and descending at no more than about 700 feet per minute. These guys weren't even close to stable. Parson guesstimated their descent rate at about 1,500. Harder to judge their airspeed, but the approach looked a good 20 knots hot. What the hell? All the Afghan pilots he knew could have done a better job. Their stick and rudder skills weren't usually the problem. Parson had preached the fine points like checklist discipline, not basic piloting skills. But whoever was flying that C-27 couldn't find his ass with both hands. Go around, you idiot, Parson muttered under his breath. Most crashes happened on landing. Airplanes were especially vulnerable to wicked weather on final approach. The nearer the ground, the thinner the margin for error. That's why a good missed approach beat a bad landing any day of the week. The pilot's voice came over the radio again, the resin of tension in his voice. Gole 1-3, going around. So the clue light finally came on. Parson thought he heard the aircraft's engines advance, though the rain noise made it hard to tell. As the C-27 flew closer, he saw the landing gear retract and the nose pitch higher. But the aircraft did not climb. The Spartan's descent continued, only at a slower rate. Caught in a downdraft, Parson realized. Or maybe even a fully developed honest-to-God microburst that could slam a plane into the ground. That's why you don't dick around in weather like this, he thought. Now cob those throttles and get the hell out of Dodge. Lightning speared the ground. Veins of quicksilver spiderwebbed across the sky, so bright they hurt Parson's eyes. The Spartan roared along the runway, clawing for altitude, gaining none. Parson could imagine the scene in the cockpit, the pilot pulling back on the yoke while watching the flight director's pitch steering bars. The ground proc's warning system blaring, "Don't sink, don't sink," and the vertical speed indicator still showing a descent. Then came the moment when Parson knew what would happen, but could do nothing. The Spartan pitched up even higher, near the verge of a stall. The aircraft floated just a few feet above the pavement, seemingly in slow motion. Inevitably, the tail dragged the ground, and the C-27 pancaked to earth. The propeller blades struck the pavement, bent backward into fishhooks. The left engine tore from its mount under the wing. Flames blossomed as fuel and hydraulic lines ripped open. The engine shed its cowl panels and prop as it cartwheeled forward, ahead of a spread